Forgiveness and forgetting, although often thought of as two similar concepts, are in fact very different. Forgiveness is the process of freeing yourself from negative emotions such as resentment or pain, rather than accepting the wrongdoing of another person. This process does not require us to forget what happened, but rather to learn to accept and live with that feeling so that it does not control your life. When you forgive, you are not agreeing with the other person's bad actions, but deciding not to let the betrayal or hurt affect you anymore. It is like healing a scar. The scar does not go away, but you can learn to live with it without letting it hurt you every day. The scar reminds you of a past that has passed, and healing makes you stronger. Let me tell you a story about Alex, a close friend of mine, to illustrate. Alex and I have had a great friendship since we were kids. However, he once cheated on me in an important situation, which left me feeling betrayed and hurt. Although I could not forget the incident, I decided to forgive Alex. Forgiveness does not mean that I accept his wrongdoing, but that I do not let anger and hurt hold me back. I realized that if I held on to resentment, I would only hurt myself. Interestingly, remembering this betrayal helped me avoid making the same mistake again. I learned that trust is important in friendship, and that I need to be more careful about how I place my trust. The scars from Alex's betrayal taught me how to protect myself in future relationships. In fact, Stoicism also talks about controlling your emotions and not letting them control your actions. According to Stoicism, we cannot control what others do, but we can control how we respond to those actions. Forgiveness is a way to practice emotional control, helping us not to let ourselves get caught up in negative feelings. Instead of being stuck in anger, we can choose to let go to live more peacefully. Ultimately, forgiveness is not forgetting, but a journey to free ourselves from negative emotions so that we can continue to live stronger and more mature. The scars from the past, even if they are there, do not weaken our strength if we know how to heal them. Limiting exposure and setting boundaries. Everyone's life is valuable and you deserve to be treated with respect. This means that not everyone deserves to have an important place in your life. Once you understand this, you will realize that limiting exposure to people who do not bring you positive value is not a bad thing, but a way to protect yourself and create a healthy space for personal growth. You may have been in a situation where you tried to please others, out of fear of offending them or worrying about their judgment. This is a common habit of people who tend to sacrifice their own needs to meet the desires of others. However, constantly trying to please everyone not only makes you feel tired, but also leads to a lack of self-control and a loss of self-confidence. Over time, you may feel overwhelmed by the needs of others, while your own needs are neglected. One way to change this is to learn to set clear and sensitive boundaries. Boundaries are not simply no or stop, but a way for you to show respect for yourself and others. You can start by identifying situations that make you feel uncomfortable or taken advantage of. Once you are aware, be brave enough to speak up in a polite and firm way. For example, if you feel unable to help someone because you have other plans, instead of feeling guilty, say that you are sorry but you cannot help at that time and suggest an alternative if necessary. A good way to think about and practice limiting contact is to think of your life as a VIP club, where you are the gatekeeper. This club is not open to everyone, and only those who are truly worthy are allowed in. You don't need to invite people who bring negativity, indifference, or who only show up when it's convenient for them. Instead, create a space where you surround yourself with people who bring positivity, encouragement, and support in your personal growth journey. The importance of valuing your time and energy cannot be underestimated. Every day you have a limited number of hours to work, relax, or take care of yourself. If you spend too much time on people or things that don't deserve you, you won't have enough energy left for what's important. So learning to say no and only reaching out to people who help you move forward is a way to ensure you don't get distracted and waste the most precious things in life: your own time and energy. In short, learn to love yourself by setting clear boundaries and knowing that not everyone needs to be in your life. Only when you protect your space and time can you live fully and achieve what you truly desire. Using humor to neutralize toxic people. Humor can be a powerful tool to diffuse tense situations and neutralize toxicity from those around you. When faced with difficult or even toxic people, instead of responding with anger or tension, humor can help break the ice and reduce their negative impact. In particular, when used properly, humor can reduce drama and create a lighter atmosphere, helping people feel less confrontational. Imagine you are working in a team and have a colleague who is always harshly critical. He often criticizes your work, even devaluing the effort you put in. In a meeting, he openly criticizes your ideas, making you feel embarrassed. However, instead of reacting with frustration or tension, you decide to use humor. You gently say, "Yeah, I get it, you're like an expert at making things more difficult." Everyone in the room laughs and the atmosphere becomes more relaxed. Your coworkers can't help but laugh, and in turn the tension is relieved and you can continue your work without feeling attacked. So why can humor work in situations like this? There are a few key reasons. Reduce tension. Humor helps people relax, thereby reducing defensiveness and creating a pleasant atmosphere. Create connection. Using humor can soften relationships, helping parties feel more comfortable with an awkward situation. Diffuse hostility. Toxic people may not want direct confrontation, and humor can help ease this feeling of confrontation. Distance yourself from negativity. Humor can help you distance yourself from criticism or toxicity, making you less vulnerable to it. However, humor must be used gently and intelligently. Otherwise, it can easily become offensive, which only makes the situation worse. A joke can break the ice, but if you go overboard, it can escalate the conflict and hurt the other person. An example of subtle humor might be when you are being criticized by a difficult coworker. Instead of reacting angrily, you can gently respond, "Thank you for helping me see things in a different light. I will keep that in mind so I don't make the same mistake again." This not only lightens the situation but also helps you stay calm. Also, in meetings, when someone makes a rather unrealistic point, you can add a joke. If only someone knew how to do this, they would win the diplomacy skills contest. It's a subtle way to ease the tension without hurting anyone. Ultimately, humor is not a short-term solution but a tool to change the way you look at things, create a positive work environment, and avoid the negative effects of toxic people. When used properly, humor can not only ease tension, but also enhance relationships and help everyone feel better. Knowing when to walk away. Deciding to leave a toxic relationship is never easy. It is a step that requires courage and a deep sense of self-worth. However, in many cases, it is not only necessary but also an act of liberation from a long-term negative influence. However, leaving does not always have to be a sudden decision or an immediate turning point. It can be a long process with many small steps toward separation, emotional protection, and personal space. A friend's story can help us visualize the difficulty of this decision. My friend was once in a friendship with someone who was pressuring, critical, and emotionally hurtful every time we met. At first, she tried to keep the relationship because she was afraid of losing a friend, but gradually she realized that she was no longer happy and felt drained after each meeting. Finally, she decided to gradually reduce contact instead of cutting it off completely at once. This was her way of dealing with the situation, not because she didn't want to face it, but to create some space for herself, and at the same time gradually reduce the influence of the toxic friend. Leaving doesn't have to be a sudden decision or a complete end to the relationship right away. In fact, there are many different ways to do this without hurting yourself or others too much. One of the simple but effective ways is to gradually reduce the frequency of meeting or contact with that person. You can start by cutting down on unnecessary conversations, changing your habits or lifestyle to limit meetings. Besides, emotional separation is also an important option. This means not letting yourself be overwhelmed by the negativity of others, but instead staying grounded and limiting your emotions. This is an approach that protects your mental health without being too abrupt to the other person. There is a common misconception that you have to tolerate or maintain relationships with people close to you, even if they are harmful to you. However, staying in a toxic relationship just because you are afraid of losing a loved one or friend is an unworthy sacrifice. You have the right to love yourself and protect yourself from relationships that bring you pain. Sometimes, the decision to leave is a way to show yourself love, to respect what is best and most worthy in your life. Finally, remember that leaving is not an act of selfishness or cruelty, but an act of self-love. This will help you maintain peace of mind and ensure that you can thrive in a more positive, healthy environment. Be brave enough to walk away from an unhealthy relationship, because you deserve to live a happy and free life. Surround yourself with positive people. Your environment can have a huge impact on your mental and emotional health. The people you interact with on a daily basis, from family to friends, colleagues, or people around you, can have a strong impact on you, helping you grow or making you feel exhausted. In particular, positive people can be the key to helping you fight negative energies, providing support and motivation in life. On the contrary, if you allow yourself to be surrounded by negative people, you can easily be affected and feel tired and lack of energy. When you live and work in a positive environment, you will feel encouraged, motivated, and tend to develop better. Positive people often have an optimistic outlook on life, help you see challenges from a different perspective, encourage you to overcome difficulties and see yourself in a better light. A healthy environment not only helps you maintain a good mental state but also directly affects your confidence and ability to face challenges in life. An example of the impact of positive people in the workplace is the story of a colleague of mine, Min. Min always brings positive energy to everyone around him, whether it is during stressful work or challenging meetings. Whenever people feel tired or discouraged, Min will always find a way to clarify the situation, create creative solutions, and never forget to encourage those around him. Min never lets difficulties lower his spirit, and that makes those around him feel more motivated. Min is a typical example of a positive person who can change the working atmosphere and evoke the potential in each person. To create a positive environment, you need to seek out and nurture healthy relationships. Positive people not only help you grow, but they also create a space where you can share your ideas, feelings, and even failures without fear of judgment. You can start by joining groups or communities that share your interests, participating in positive activities or events, or simply spending time with people who make you feel good and happy. It is important to actively seek out and build valuable relationships that help you become a better version of yourself. However, to maintain a positive environment, you also have to learn to let go of relationships that do not bring you positive benefits. Sometimes, cutting off contact with negative people who constantly bring you down is not a bad thing. This is a brave but necessary decision to protect your mental health. You do not have to put up with people who drag you down, hurt you, or make you feel exhausted. Remember that you have the right to love and care for yourself, and part of that is creating a loving and positive space around yourself. Finally, always remember that the people you choose to surround yourself with can shape your life. They are your companions on your journey of growth and development. So surround yourself with positive people who will help you overcome challenges and build a life of hope, faith, and success. Refuse to play their games. In toxic relationships, one of the common tactics toxic people use is to create chaos and manipulation. These people often try to make you feel uncomfortable, confused, or even force you to engage in pointless arguments or power games that you can never win. They love it when you feel out of control because it allows them to maintain control and dominate every situation. Their goal is to make you feel like you are always wrong, not good enough, or not strong enough to stand your ground. However, the only way to win at these games is to stop playing them altogether. When you refuse to play their games, you not only protect yourself from manipulation, but you also create a safe space where you can maintain control over your life. If you continue to play these games, you will only get caught up in a vicious cycle of hurt, stress, and suffering. The story of a toxic family member may be the clearest example. I have an aunt who always creates arguments in the family, making things tense and unpleasant. No matter how hard we try to avoid them, she always finds a way to drag us into arguments, leaving everyone confused and unsure of how to end the conversation. She uses emotional manipulation to make us feel guilty, or to impose her opinions. However, one day I decided to stop playing these games. When she started criticizing or provoking, I did not respond, did not let her drag me into the argument. For the first time, my silence confused her, and I realized that, by not participating, I was winning. Mastering the art of refusing to participate in toxic games requires developing a few key skills. First, it is essential to recognize and understand manipulation tactics. Toxic people can use a variety of methods to make you feel wronged, such as personal attacks, blaming, or trying to make you feel insecure. Once you are aware of this, it will be easier to recognize when you are being pulled into a game and to promptly refuse to participate. The second skill is persistence. When you refuse to participate, do not let provocations or attacks sway you. Maintain your position and do not let them change your mind. This may be difficult at first, but standing your ground and not responding to negative words is a way to protect yourself from manipulation. Additionally, you need to practice communicating clearly and assertively. Sometimes, opting out doesn't mean staying silent, but rather speaking up in a strong way that shows you don't accept manipulation and aren't willing to continue in the conversation. For example, you can calmly and firmly say, "I don't want to be involved in this conversation anymore. We're not going anywhere." This will help you separate yourself from the chaos that toxic people create. Finally, remember that opting out of their games doesn't mean you're weak. On the contrary, it's a powerful act that demonstrates your self-control and determination to protect your mental health. When you opt out of toxic games, you're not only demonstrating your determination, but you're also asserting your right to live in a healthy, manipulative environment. Choosing to opt out of these games not only helps you maintain your inner peace, but it also helps you build a healthy and lasting relationship with yourself. Focus on your goals. Toxic people love to distract you. They can use a variety of tactics to make you think about them, engage in meaningless arguments, or feel caught up in relationships. Their goal is to distract you from the important things in life, thereby causing you to lose motivation and focus on your goals. To avoid being drawn into these games, staying focused on your personal goals is a powerful and essential move. When you focus on your goals, you not only protect yourself from negative external influences, but also demonstrate your self-control and commitment to what you want to achieve. Personal goals are the torch that guides you through difficulties and challenges and keeps you from getting lost. In fact, focusing on your goals not only helps you stay motivated, but also creates consistency in your life journey. An example of the impact of toxic people in the workplace is a story about a coworker of mine. She was always trying to distract me from my work, especially on important projects. Whenever I was focused on my work, she would come up with gossip, or try to drag me into unnecessary arguments. At first, I felt quite annoyed and dragged into these situations, but gradually I realized that if I didn't stay focused, I wouldn't be able to complete the important goals I had set. So I decided to set boundaries with her, take time off work when necessary, and avoid getting distracted by unimportant things. To stay focused even when surrounded by toxicity, you need to have a clear plan and define specific goals. First, write down the goals you want to achieve, create a clear roadmap to pursue them. Next, divide your time wisely, focus on the most important things first, and limit distractions from unnecessary factors. It is important to learn to say no to relationships or situations that do not contribute to your goals. Besides, you also need to practice emotional control and patience. When you are surrounded by negative factors, it is easy to feel frustrated or impatient, but remember that focusing on your goals is a process. Take time to rest and recharge when necessary, and always keep in mind that your goals are the only reason you continue to strive. Finally, understand that focusing on your goals is not a selfish act. This is how you respect yourself and your dreams. When you focus on what really matters, you not only make your life better, but you can also have a positive impact on those around you. Pursuing goals not only helps you grow, but it is also a way for you to express yourself in a powerful and confident way. Avoid backbiting. When you encounter toxic people, one of the common reactions is to want to share your feelings with others, even gossiping about them behind their backs. However, this action only keeps the toxicity in your life. Backbiting not only does not solve the problem, but it also makes you think about that person constantly, keeping them rent-free in your mind. In fact, this only prolongs the negativity and creates more stress for yourself. A typical example is the story of a coworker I used to work with. He was always trying to sabotage my work and lower the morale of the team. Instead of addressing the problem directly, my other coworkers and I had negative conversations about him behind his back, hoping that it would make us feel better. However, each time I gossiped, I felt more exhausted and the negative feelings kept coming back. After a while, I realized that continuing to do so only made me feel worse and didn't solve anything. To avoid falling into the cycle of backbiting, you need to learn to control your emotions and find healthier ways to deal with anger or frustration. One effective way is to face the problem directly and talk to the person directly if possible. If that's not possible, you can find someone you trust to share with without repeating the criticism or blame others. Sometimes the best way is to simply say nothing and keep quiet. Remember, avoiding backbiting is not only a kind act but also a smart choice. You don't have to let negativity take over your mind and energy. By giving up the habit of backbiting, you not only protect yourself from negative feelings but also create space for more positive and creative thoughts. Dealing with toxic people is not about changing them, it's about protecting yourself. When you stay calm and avoid negative conversations, you protect your mental health and focus on the more important things in life. Stay focused on your goals and dreams, and remember that every step along the way is a victory. If you have your own strategies for dealing with toxic people, please share them so we can learn and grow together.